Hi everyone, welcome back to Whiteboard Circuit. And today I'm here again with a new video on what would you do? So I really love this video series because you can talk in the comments and debate, and there's no real right answer. Everyone is right, and it's really on the reasoning and opinions of people. So please go down in the comments, have those debates. Let's create a community where we talk about these questions. So today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of businesses face all the time. Even small businesses, big businesses, everyone has this issue. And we're going to talk about what would you do if you were the CEO or in an executive role in a company like this. So before we continue on with the video, I wanted to give a really quick disclaimer. I am not giving financial advice. Before making any decisions, please make sure you consult a professional advisor and do your own due diligence and research. I am just a college student trying to share knowledge and personal experiences through all the fun, fictional characters. I'm not a professional, and I'm not giving any life or financial advice on this channel. So on with the video. So let's say you're the CEO. You're the CEO of a company, and the company is struggling in terms of finances. You have two options. So let's kind of change this arrow. You have two options. Your first option is to kind of dilute the equity and get investors. Let me quickly just write this down so I can talk about what this means. So your option is either dilute equity and increase investors, like introduce investors into the company, or keep equity and like continue struggling. I'm just going to write that for the sake of the analogy. So now what does diluting equity mean? So what is equity? When a company is started, let's say a child starts a lemonade stand. They own 100% of that lemonade stand. Every profit they make, every loss they have is carried by the one kid. I just call him kid. So he has a kid, he has a lemonade stand. If he makes $10, the $10 go into his bank account. All $10. If he doesn't sell any that day and he loses money because, of course, he has to buy the lemons, buy the water, whatever, all that loss is from his pocket because he owns 100% of the company. But now, if a kid and his friend choose to start a business together and they choose to kind of split the money 50-50, then the kid has 50-50, has 50% equity, and the friend has 50% equity. So any profit they make, if they make $10, kid gets $5 in his pocket, friend gets another $5. So equity is how much of the profits, how much of the loss are you going to make individually. So when a company, a small business is starting, usually the equity is split among the founders of the company, whether it's one or two. Like usually one or two people will own 100% of the company when a company starts. Small companies or even companies you will see on Shark Tank are usually 100% owned by the few founding individuals. But now they need more money, whether it's for marketing purposes. So why do we give away equity? Well, the kid can say, okay, I have the skill. I know how to make the lemonade, but I don't have the money to actually go and buy the lemons because maybe his parents won't let him borrow money or he doesn't have a job. So he goes to his slightly older friend and says, okay, you have a job. Maybe you can help me. You can pay for the lemons while I make the lemonade. That's why. His friend says, fine, I'll pay for the lemons, but I get 50% of profits. So kid's like, fine. He has the skill. He gives away half of the equity, so half of the profits, half of the losses, whatever, to his friend for the help. So if you watch shows like Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, we can see these small creators, small businesses that go to these sharks or dragons and say, I will give away 10% of my company, 15% of my company for $100,000 or $200,000. So they need the money, whether they want to invest it in research or in marketing or whatever. They need the money for their business, and they will take that money from these investors and give them a portion of their company. Whether it's 5%, 10%, 15%, whatever, you get the point. So they're taking money or taking resources and they're giving a portion of their equity to these investors. But what does that mean? Now that they have given part of their company, they don't own 100%, right? So let's say the kid wanted to change the color of his stand entirely or start selling orange juice instead of lemonade. If the kid owned 100% of this company, he can make that decision because he bears the profits, he bears the losses. He doesn't need to ask anyone, he doesn't need permission. He owns all of it. That's his choice. But in this scenario where his friend owns 50% of the company, he has to make sure that the friend also agrees. Because any changes he makes affects his friend's investment. The friend agreed to buy lemons, but now if the kid switches to orange juice, he needs to tell the friend, are you okay with buying oranges? Maybe oranges are more expensive than lemons. So the friend has to agree because the friend is a major investor in the company. So the CEO, you, are struggling with finances. You have two options. You can dilute equity, which means introduce investors, but that means you no longer own all of your company. So you have introduced these investors into your company and you have given them a portion of your business, whether it's 5%, 10%, again, however much money they are willing to offer you, and that's between you and them, but you give away part of your company. Or you can keep your equity and struggle. Now, struggle as in you can maybe change how you're doing, but if you own the company, you can choose to make whatever decision. Instead of lemons, you buy oranges. That's totally your choice. You own the company. You control everything. So basically, this debate is between, let's say, help or dilution. Let's say dilution versus control. That's what this is about. If you dilute the control, you end up getting the money. You might get stability. With this, you get stability because you get the money, you get the help you need, you get the skill sets. But with this, you get to keep all the control. So if you were the CEO, what would you do? Now, of course, I know there's a lot of aspects to this. It depends on how much money you really need. Sometimes the money is enough, you can just take a loan from a bank. That's an option. But depending on whatever scenario, again, talk in the comments. In what scenarios would your decision change? Maybe if your loss is a lot, you might introduce investors. Or maybe if it's a small business, you would just choose to keep the equity and kind of experiment, go from lemonade to orange juice. But as a big company, you can't necessarily make major changes like that. You can't jump and switch markets that easily when you're established. So, of course, there's so many scenarios, and this is such a vague question. But in general, if you were the CEO and you had the option between control and stability, what would you choose? Would you give away part of your company, maybe even 50%, 70% for the stability? Or would you choose to struggle maybe, but keep control? Now, talk about what situations, what's the maximum equity you would give away? As a CEO, if you own 100%, would you give 80% of your company? You're not even a major owner anymore. What percent would you give maximum? So let's have that debate in the comments. Let's create that community. Talk about what would we do in a situation like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Press that thumbs up button if you liked it and that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.